Hey Alec, it's Dr. Scott. So I have some feedback for you on your Essay 2 draft. Just a quick reminder, in Essay 2, I'm looking specifically at your thesis statement, the argument that you put together, how specific was that thesis statement, how strong was the argument that you make in the thesis. And I'm also taking a look, the second criteria is your ability to use details from the murals and from a couple sources to support that thesis statement. So are you backing up what you're saying with evidence? The third issue I'm looking at is your ability to organize your ideas and to have a reason for why you have ideas in the location that you have them. And also using transitions to help you do that work. And then finally, I'm taking a look at your ability to integrate a couple sources. So that's what I'm looking at. This is a draft, and drafts are good, messy drafts are good, but Annie Lamott calls a shitty first draft totally fine. I think the thesis statement is a good start. It's pretty close. I think the question for me is here. How far and hard we were willing to work to get where we needed to be. That being the thesis, or the main argument that you're trying to get across. What I want to say is that, like, later in your essay, where you're just kind of riffing on, some ideas that you had about the murals, I think you actually arrive at more interesting claims than the murals are just showing how far and hard we were willing to work to get where we needed to be. I think you're kind of saying something about what we're supposed to think about industry in this part of the country. It's something that we embrace. And it's not necessarily about, like, how hard the work was. It's that we're supposed to take pride and see beauty in hard work, if that makes sense. And right now, that interesting argument that you arrive at in later paragraphs, it's not actually what you're building your essay up to do, at least in what you're telling me in that thesis statement. So the thesis needs a little bit of tweaking, and that is important to figure out early on. That's the first thing that I would recommend that you work on, because the details that you use and how you structure your paragraphs, that it should all be set up to support that thesis statement. And right now, it's kind of like you have this thesis statement here, and I see you in places try to nod back to the thesis statement to kind of connect the dots, but it doesn't happen all that often. And we've talked a little bit about how keeping your ideas organized is probably your that's the thing you need to work on the most. For me, like, it's super helpful to do stuff like this when I have a lot of ideas and I just need to shut the hell up and get them down on a piece of paper. I will do things like this, like and so I will write a ton like you have here, and then I will copy and paste. And I'll say, all right, you know what? That needs to go here because that's about color. All right. Sorry about that. I had a little tech glitch. Let me get you back in here. So this stuff was not about color, but the point that I was trying to make is that, like, if you know that you're going to be writing a paragraph about color and another about setting, go ahead and write a bunch of stuff and then figure out where things relate to color and then copy and paste that into that section. That's really like it's two big issues right now, and so it's figuring out what is it are you actually arguing, and then it's getting some ideas that are kind of grouped together. Right now you've got a bunch of ideas and they're all smart ideas, Alec. Like, you have really interesting ideas, and I always love kind of coming across them, but it's hard to kind of piece together how they should be coming together and how to read them together. There are places where I think a little bit more description is needed. You talk about the poses that they cast. I think you need to describe what those poses are. I think you need to describe exactly what colors you're talking about, which is confusing for me in a sense, because it's like, it seems like you're writing about the setting, and then we got discussion of colors going on here in that paragraph. And so, like, for me, the recommendation that I have for you is really figure out exactly what it is that are you trying to argue. That might be, you might need to have a conversation with me or a writing center tutor to kind of figure that out. But I mean, just kind of consider you have an interesting idea, like what kind of action and movement is being represented in the two murals. I mean, you've got the plumes of smoke that are, and the horses dragging, taking things, carrying things. You also have the steel mill and, this action here. Like, it's about work getting done. It's showing us work getting done. And the people are there. They're kind of inconsequent. They're kind of not all that consequential in the grand scheme of things. But it's like this work that we do, we're really proud of this. And how do they do that? Like, these are very bright. I mean, it's obviously hard work, but it's not like hard work that they're not showing. I mean, we're inferring the danger there, but they're not showing. They're showing people with skill doing dangerous work, and it's kind of like that is something to be proud of. What I'm trying to get at, and it's taking me a while, and I figured I know that, but what I think I'm trying to get you to do is to think about, all right, this idea that they're trying to say about industry, that we're supposed to be proud of our industry or whatever it is you're trying to argue there, how do they get that across? I think you're right. I think color is part of it. The other parts are a little less clear to me. The building structures, historical tools, maybe the tools, there's something there to that. But right now, I see the color is probably the strongest idea that you have. And I think I just kind of need to see more writing, or we need to talk to make sure that you're on the right path. And that's probably the way to go. After you listen to this rambling video, maybe if you have a clear idea of where these paragraphs were supposed to go, email me and let me know what that is. We could chat. I mean, I'll be around on campus on Friday. I'll also be around on campus early next week. So if you want to get together and chat, I think we can figure something out. But right now, I'm kind of having a hard time understanding like where the paragraphs are what the paragraphs are doing. It feels like they're following each of the murals, and it really should be following around the different ways that the murals are getting their idea across. Is it the use of colors? Is it how the setting is depicted? Is it how workers are depicted in the murals? How are they getting these ideas across? The idea itself, the thesis statement itself, might need a little tweaking. You might need to kind of get across the idea, not just that we've progressed, but that we're supposed to be proud of that progression. And how do they get that pride idea across? Again, I think color is part of it. I think that there's other things that they do to kind of show how proud that we should be feeling about the amount of labor that we do and the technological advancements that we've used in that labor. I think you've got some thinking to do as far as the argument that the writing needs to follow after that. So feel free to email me over the weekend. If you want to get together and chat, I'd be happy to do that. But let's get that figured out, and then we can start organizing ideas, and then we can start getting you to use more description, and we can start getting some sources in there. I think everything's going to follow after you have a clearer sense of what the thesis statement should be. That's it for now, Alec. I know that's a lot. I know it rambled a bit, but I'm looking forward to your questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this essay goes. Talk to you soon.